Well, it looks like Logan Paul could be on his way back to WWE, and not just back to WWE as a part-time performer, but rather full-time. Now, this article doesn't talk about this specifically, but there was a recent report where Logan Paul had mentioned he is going to be returning to WWE full-time, no more side gigs, that this is going to be the full-time effort. This is not going to be just this kind of hobby that he's taken on. And if he does this, let me just say this. If Logan Paul does indeed take this gig full-time, I do believe he could be one of the faces of the company in the next 2 to 3 years. And I'm not saying that lightly or to try to get clicks. Logan Paul has all the tools. In just a short amount of time, the very handful of matches that we've seen, he has overperformed, over-delivered every single time. It's incredible. Many people have compared him to Kurt Angle, and rightfully so, of how quickly he's picked up the business. So, this particular article, as always, credit Wrestling Inc., and let's go through it. So, what does this article say? Well, saying he's one of the biggest social media influencers, we all know that. He's had the Logo energy drink, we all know that. But he might have a big match on the horizon at WrestleMania 41. According to PW Insider Elite, there have been creative pitches for Paul to face World Heavyweight Champion Gunther at WWE's biggest show. Naturally, one would assume the match would be for Gunther's title if he keeps hold of it until Easter weekend. That has not been confirmed to be happening at this time of the writing. So that could easily be changed. It was initially pitched to be John Cena's opponent instead of Cody Rhodes's. But there's a lot that can happen here. So many people have been purportedly going to be facing Gunther at WrestleMania. I've heard anything from Brock Lesnar to Seth Rollins to Drew McIntyre. Go down the line. I mean, Gunther is the most wide open world heavyweight champion that I've seen in I don't know how many years. Gunther is so wide open in terms of opponents. It's kind of mind-boggling. And it's anybody that's telling you they know for sure is just simply lying unless they're actually in the business. So what else does this article say? Well, Paul was in the crowd for the January 6th version of Raw. If you didn't know, WWE was a bit quiet about this. They didn't really make a big stink about it. Really, really quiet kind of press release under the radar. Raw moved to Netflix. So I'm probably breaking a little news here. Didn't mean to, but in case you didn't know, Raw did move to Netflix. So check it out. And they did confirm that the former U.S. champion would be a part of the Red brand going forward. As for Gunther, he was not featured on the event, but he was called out by CM Punk after his win over Seth Rollins. That never materialized, though. So lots happening here, guys. If you're a Logan Paul fan or you're not, even if you don't like what he's done personally, professionally, he just objectively has killed it in the short amount of time he's been here. I cannot think, and I've been watching nearly 30 years of WWE, I cannot think of a single star that has picked up this quickly and has really just fell into his own instantly. Yes, Kurt Angle, I guess, is one, but Logan Paul's significantly younger than Kurt Angle was. And he's, dare I say, more athletic. Not saying he's a better athlete, that he could out-amateur wrestle Kurt Angle in his prime. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying from an athletic perspective of what today's pro wrestling is, definitely Logan Paul, I think, overperforms and over-delivers even Kurt Angle on that front. Not to say he's going to be an overall better wrestler, just particularly in-ring, the things he can do are superior to what Kurt Angle could do. Again, in terms of moves. Ring psychology, another element to this. But this is an interesting dynamic, guys. If Logan Paul does take this serious and go full-time, I am telling you, barring injury, this guy is, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself, looking at the Hall of Fame in about 10 years. May not be a little crazy. Maybe that was a little crazy. But right now, as it stands, I think that's fairly reasonable to assume, because of what he's shown us in just a short amount of time. And my God. So anyway, thank you guys for listening and watching, because normally I do audio podcasts. I don't do a lot of video. Starting to get into it more, and I appreciate everybody who's continuing to follow us here on YouTube and to follow us over on Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. We're called the WWE Podcast. You can follow us anywhere. So guys, thank you so much for joining us here, and we'll be talking next time.